So Ed is getting ready to cut the tree down a little bit more because we're going to start grafting these guys. On to the next one. We don't have too many of these things.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I was explaining to the boys here how this worked. So Ed cut it off. We open up a little spot here on the side, and what this does is it then shows the cambium layer, which is that layer that is right between this older wood and the bark. And then we have our sign wood.
So it's like the green part then. All right.
Yeah, and Ed has already kind of cut this one. Oh, let me get it focused in a little, sorry here. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide this in so the cambium of our sign wood layers in with the cambium of the old tree. So these were red delicious trees. We've cut them back. We have this new variety Ed just got yesterday. I'm not even sure what it is right now. The boys are going to come through. One of them will use a putty to cover that, and we'll show you that too, and then we paint it. That is to protect this cut, because if you don't protect the cut, you can get all sorts of bugs and fungi and other stuff in them. So that's the basics on how we graft. We have some other pictures of older grafts I'll throw at the end of this, and then you can see 2-year-ago graft and then our really more mature grafts as well. All right, so we've got some of our sign wood into the trees. We're using the putty right now around it to get any air pockets out of the way. We did staple. We will staple on the sides, and that helps support the sign wood in the beginning. And then once this part is done, we will come back through, go on, and then we paint over it. And this is also to help keep the bugs and anything else out that could hurt it. We'll also paint up the tips. All right. There's 2 of them. Ben, you had a question?
Yeah, can you just graft basically like an apple tree onto a pear tree, or just mix and match like that?
Oh yeah, as long as you can get pretty, as long as it wouldn't reject kind of like the human stuff does, you know. But yeah.
My dad's done all sorts
All
of
right,
stuff to it.
we
It's just gotta-
can kind of see the production line going here. We get the sticks in, the sign wood. Jake is coming behind, stapling and pasting.
it
And
doesn't
then
work
Ben
though.
is going through and painting everything.
I think it
We've
needs
got a
like
few
ball
trees
bearings or
done thus
something
far.
to roll better.
All right, so you saw us doing some new grafts. These are 2-year-old grafts. You can see where we had painted. These 3 are the sign wood that went in, and they have grown in the last 2 years, and they're actually flowering. We should have some really nice apples off of these this year. Excuse me. But this is what 2-year-old graft wood looks like. It's really nice. So those ones that we just did will turn into this. You guys have any questions?
So where it attaches, is it about like, is it as strong as a normal branch would be, or does it break off?
It can break off. And a lot of times, I don't see one right here, Ed will come in and put a stick to support it. You'll see it in some of these other ones. He just, for some reason, did not have to do this area. He'll either put a stick, like laying right here, or he'll tie them together to support them, because it is a very weak joint in the beginning, yes.
But after a while, like not at this point, it's a lot stronger.
It is a lot stronger at this point, yes. Yeah.
Do you ever just kind of like top them so they grow out one way and then the other?
Bernardo came through and pruned them all.
Ah.
So he's kind of already done that. If you look up at the tips up there, you can see where he
Oh yeah.
clipped the tips off.
Right on.
Yeah, and at some point these will get big enough that he might even start cutting some of these grafts off when it gets to a certain point. When it comes to pruning, that's all Ed and Bernardo.
Yeah.
Oh, but the bees. I don't know if you can see the
loving it.
bees are in the apple blossoms. That is great. So that's what those grafts will look like in a couple of years. And then later I'll walk over to the older grafts and show you some of that. All right, so I want to come over here and show you the older grafts. These are Honeycrisp apples. These we grafted 9 years ago. You can see how much bigger this branch is compared to what we saw in those 2-year-old growths. This is the stick I was talking about. At this point, it's here, although he could take that out. He would have had this tied together to give it that support. You guys kind of walk around a little. You can see the flat spot. There was just all yellow paint on the new ones. Both of these signwoods have just completely overgrown that. This one has a little bit still showing up in here. But for the most part, these branches get pretty big and they will take over. And they become the new branches. These are nice Honeycrisp apples that we had put in. So all of this block had been grafted. All right, thanks for joining us on this journey.